Good morning, everybody. Good morning to everybody over here in the Avos Shalom Shul, and good morning to everybody in Torah Anytime and also in YouTube. And we are now in Maseches Bava Metzia. We are in Daf Samichay Amud Aleph. We are learning halachos of Ribis, and we're going to have a tremendous Metzia Hashem great time over here. Samichay Amud Aleph. Samichay Amud Aleph. Yeah. Before we continue, I want to tell you that this year's Ilu Nishmas Tov Meir Menachem Ben Akiva Rus Bas Shalom Sol Bas Moshe Lefuas Aviva Bas Dvoira. Please daven for Aviva Bas Dvoira. Anybody that can hear me, and for Hina Bas Beila Chana Bat Sima Pnei Chabas Gil Rochel Besorch Shachol Yisrael. Let's go. So before we continue, let's summarize what we did yesterday, including I would maybe tell you Baal Peh, the piece of Tosfos which we still are missing. I don't want to go back to Tosfos. I don't want to break the flow. Basically, what did we say yesterday? If a person lent money to his friend, right? There's a lender and there's a borrower. The lender is the one who now wants to get what? Rent-free residence there. He wants to to live in the loive's house for free. He's not allowed to do that, even if it was not agreed upon. We said lemaskana, right? And even if he doesn't really need it financially, he's not gaining anything because he has other places to stay. And the malve on his side is, and the loive, excuse me, the landowner, the landlord, which is the loive, doesn't lose anything because this apartment he has is not for rent anyways. It's called zeloi nehenev zeloi choser. Financially speaking, nothing real happened here. Nevertheless, because it looks like ribis, that what? That the malve is gaining, as if he's getting something extra because of the fact that he lent money that looks like ribis, smells like ribis, talks like ribis, mechzi, and therefore it's also midorabonon. Now, Tosfos, I know. Now, Tosfos pointed out, where does that end? Where do you draw the line, right? In other words, this is not something that's a real gain. The person gives this apartment for free anyways, yeah? So why do you say it's osir? Which means, if I anyhow lend milk or, I don't know, eggs and drills to everybody, including the malve, regardless of the alvo, that should be allowed, right? So why over here do you say it's not allowed? Why? This apartment, people give it for free anyways. Says Tosfos one answer. An apartment, what? Exactly. Says Tosfos, good. Says Tosfos, an apartment is something very well known. Something, I would say famous, but it's the talk of town. People know if you live in someone's house and it's for free, people may find out. They say, oh, the guy just landed from America. All of a sudden, he's there rent-free. And it's very well known. And then it looks like ribis to the public. Shenken, if you lend a drill to your friend, and that's anyway something you'd have done otherwise, if somebody lends a drill to his neighbor, that's not exactly the talk of town, not even b'deyechni to people. Now, another teretz Tosfos says, and that is the teretz I didn't tell you yesterday. In the case of the Mishnah, the malve came and lived there without permission. It's not something he did with permission, and then the discussion starts, shall we take rent or not? He went there and lived as if he's the town's sheriff. He just landed there without permission, plunked his suitcase there, and lived. That kind of behavior, why does he do that? Because he believes that because of the alva, he deserves it. That's wrong. If he thinks that because of him being a malve, he deserves that as a form of ribis, that alone is wrong. And that's the chiddush as opposed to other cases. Yeah? If it's done with permission, then it's okay, providing you would have done it anyways. Yeah? If I lend a drill to my friend, my neighbor, with or without elbow, that's allowed, even if he gave me elbow. But if this is something, if he would come to my house and grab the drill without my permission and say, I deserve it anyways, and even if the drill is not for, I don't mind, I give the drill to everybody. But if he does it thinking he deserves it because of the elbow, that's what doesn't smell nice. That shmecks like ribis, and that's not allowed. Okay, let's continue now into, we're actually quite advanced in Samichay Amud Aleph. Omar Abaye. Line starts with Abaye. Maybe easier for you to detect the line. Omar Abaye. Bezras Hashem Nasiv v'Netzlech. Omar Abaye. Yeah, I think it's about 6th or 7th line from the top of the page. Samechei Amud Aleph Ezu Neshech. Omar Abaye. Says Abaye. Hi man, the Masik Zuzi Derbisa Bechavri. According to one version, it's Zuzah. Let's say a person now wants to charge 1 zuz of ribis. By the way, my friends, I'm anticipating here some confusion, so I'm telling you now. We're going to have three cases now, Bava and Rove, all going to talk about when ribis alone is being charged, which means, let's say that person in Abai's case lent his friend, I don't know, 1,000 shekels, 10 shekels, I don't care how much. The zuz, the one zuz is ribis. Get what I'm saying? Like in the mashkanta, the percentage of the ribis is mentioned separately. Now the loiv owes the malve one zuz as ribis, not as the original loan, the capital is ribis. Okay. Now, how does he want to pay it? Who? The loive to the malve. How is he planning to pay it back? The kaazli chiti. Now the going rate for chiti for wheat, arba grivi bezuza beshuka. The going rate, the normal price is to sell for grivi. You know how much is grivi? That's grievance. Grivi is a saw. There are four same for one zuz. The going rate in the market is you can get 4 grivi of chitin, 4 saw of wheat for one zuz. That's the going rate. Now he, the loive, doesn't want to pay him with money. He's still strapped for cash. How does he want to pay the ribis? With what? Wheat. I'll give you wheat. But you know how much he gives him? The loiv is being extra nice. The yoiv leihu, the loiv gives the malve chamisha. He says, you know what? Instead of giving you 4 grivi for one zuz, which I owe you for ribis, I'll give you 5 grivi for the price of zuz. It's kilo. I'm pricing it again. I'm repricing it for your benefit. And instead of deciding that the zuz that I owe you gets you 4 grivi, I'm giving you 5 grivi for the same zuz. Get the story? He's basically giving him extra for the same zuz that he owes him for ribis. I want to ask you a question. Halacha l'maisa, if you remember, if a person received ribis, let's say in this story, Mr. Malve, Precious Malve, he got back his zuz, but really is getting more because he's getting a good price. Instead of getting money or getting 4 grivi of chiti, he's getting 5. Now, will we take it out of his pocket according to Rabbi Yochanan or Rabbi Lazar, the halacha? Remember, what did we say? Halacha is like Rabbi Lazar, and you give it back. Yes, you have to give it back. Okay. Now, Rabbi Lazar said, I want to remind you, what you have to give back is only the doraisa, the ribis ktsutza, the ribis was agreed upon originally. But any extras, any dorabonons, any avak ribis, mechzik ribis, you don't have to give back. If you're the malve and we take you to Beis Din, you don't have to give that back. So now, says Abaye, kim apkinan minei, when eventually you'll take him to Beis Din and you get the money out of the pocket of the malve, which money? The ribis, back to the loive. Arba mapkinan minei, we only take 4 zuzim, or only take, excuse me, not 4 zuzim, 1 zuz. We only take 4 grivi of wheat out of him. Idach, the fifth one, ozuli de kamoizil gabe. The fifth one is just the loive being extra nice and added an extra amount to make it cheap for him. Yeah, gave him a reduction, which means Abaye looks at this giving back of ribis very simply. The original amount was what? 1 zuz. What's the going rate in the market for 1 zuz? 4 grivi. So 4 grivi has to give back. That's the real set amount of ribis ktsutza. The extra grivi that he gave, there was an extra. And extras, what did we say? We said b'shem Rabbi Lozo. Rabbi Lozo said, you don't have to pay that back. Good. So the 4 he gets back, and the 5th one he doesn't. That's what the Abaye says. Yeah, we view them as separately. It's as if he gave him the zuz, boom, and then the extra quarter of the zuz, yeah, which is a 5th, it's a quarter of a zuz worth, that he doesn't have to give back. That's like an extra out of the box, out of the original amount. That's what the Abaye says. Rove Omar, Rove says no. Rove says no. Chamisha mapkinan minei. We get out of his pocket the entire 5. All 5 grivi, we demand that the who? Malve pays back to the loive the entire 5. Why? L'choira, the original agreement was 1 zuz, and everybody else in the market sells 1 zuz for how much? 1 zuz? 4 grivi. Why do you take all 5 grivi back from the pocket of the malve to the loive? Hence, explains the Gemara, the Meikore originally betoris ribisa soiliyodei. This came to him, to the loive, and then to the malve as ribis. It came to the malve, which means it's not like, if let's say I chas v'shalom lend someone beribis, there's 100 shekel Yomi ribis. There was 1,000 shekel loan, 100 shekel Yomi ribis, and you give me 100 instead. Akiva, you're so nice. 100, I'll give an extra 10. If you give me one envelope of 100 ribis, another envelope with 10 shekels, another little bag 10 shekels, then it's very clear. No question. 100 shekel, I'll have to give back to you when you take me to Beis Din, like Reb Lozer. The 10 shekel I keep, because it's very clear cut and dry. Mashenkin here says, Robert, it's not the case. Because how much does he owe him as ribis? One zuz. That Mr. Loive, who's being a doormat over here, Mr. Loive, what does he do? He says, I really owe you one zuz. I'm giving a reduction, and instead of giving you 4 grivi for one zuz, I'm giving you 5 for one zuz. So though nobody else in the market does it, but Lamais in his das, in the das of both of them, in their mind, the ones they priced, that's called in English to price, he priced the 5 grivi in one zuz. But Lamais, they viewed it as the one zuz coming back to him, yeah, given as ribis. Memela, now you'll have to give one zuz of all 5 grivi, including the extra 5th one, because Lamais, it's not a separate thing. You view that as one package deal of the one zuz, you just priced it differently. And therefore, Abai said like it's a 2 separate envelopes. Rava says no. Of course, the is Rava. And therefore, we take all 5, which means at the end of the day, I saw the Rashash, I think, or Maramshif, they say at the end of the day, if he ate up all the wheat already, what would he give him? A zuz and a quarter. Because normally everybody else in the price, how much would they charge 5 grivi? A zuz and a quarter. That's what you have to give him. This guy was nice to you, Freier. So what? We don't care. Nice, he gave it to you as ribis. You have to give everything back as ribis back to him, because Beis Din forces you, like the halach is like Rabbi Lozo. Next case, but I'm going to listen to questions now. Yes, and then the next case.
The big difference is the Bava system
very good. Another case. Now instead of one zuz, we have 4 zuzim. Another case. A person now charges his friend 4 zuzim as ribis. The entire 4 zuzim are all extra for another loan of ribis. The yaivle glima begavayu. Instead of giving him cash, he gave him a glima, gave him a nice suit, gave him a robe, he gave him some nice suit worth 4 zuzim. Okay, he accepted it. Okay, in other words, the Malve said, okay, you don't have 4 zuzim, Purim is coming. What a nice new suit. Yeah, maybe red, blue, and green. Kimafkina and Minei, when now you take it out of his hands, who's taking out of whose hands? Beis Din takes the ribis out of the hands of the Malve, as they should, l'kabelozo. Arbom apkinan minei, you take out of his possession, out of his reshus, 4 zuzim in cash. Glima lom apkinan minei. Beis Din comes to his door after the sack was given. Mister, you have to give back the ribis. What kind of return does he do? He says, I want to keep the suit. This is an amazingly beautiful suit. Okay, you can do that as long as you pay 4 zuzim. You have to give back something. Yeah. In other words, it was a sale here. That's okay. As long as you didn't get anything extra from your very ugly ribis, it's okay. What do you get? You get, instead of the 4 zuzim the glima that you got, give back the value of the glima 4 zuzi and stay with the glima. That's what Abai says. Okay, good, fine. However, Rova says a special halacha. Glima mapkinan minei. No, says Rova. We insist to take the actual robe, the actual garment out of his hands and not the money. He cannot stay with the robe. He has to give the robe back and not give its value in money back. Why? My time, why is that? So people shouldn't say glima de mechasi v'koi, the glima that this guy stands and walks around with this glima de ribisu. It's a glima of ribis. We don't want people to know that there's ribis given. It's wrong. People shouldn't get used to the idea. Oh, you know how this guy came with this amazing new, Gucci schmucci suit to shul. Whoa, pshiha. Where does he have that beautiful suit from? Everybody knows the suit came from where? From ribis. That is wrong. Therefore, you must give the actual suit back and not its value, to avoid that kind of talk, that kind of mentality of people thinking that it can't, rightly so, that he came through ribis. So even though he paid for the glima, yeah, which is what Abai says, and it's not really a gain in his hands anymore, the glima doesn't make a difference. The glima has a stempel of ribis on it, and that doesn't shmek right. That's wrong. And that's where again Rav is being more machmir, halok is like Rava. So in one case, a person is loive has a ribis of how much? He had ribis of 1 zuz for the and gives it in chitim, and he has to give back all 5 grivi. Second case is Rava. What did he get for his ribis of 4 zuzim? Clothes, some garment, fancy garment. Give back the actual garment, not its value. Even though it does make a difference, but it does make a difference, even not financially. The way it looks doesn't look good. The person has a glima which has a name of ribis on it. No. Of course not. We're asking ribis over the ribis. The 4 he has to give back either in 4 shkolim, zuzim, or the glima, one of the two. Abai says, do what you want, either one. And Rava says, no, you dafka, we insist you give back the ribis itself, yes, the ribis item itself and not its value in money. So people shouldn't think that that's it. No, it doesn't give double. It's enough. Only 4 zuzim he gained. What he gained, he has to give back. As the British say, not a penny more, not a penny less, right? That's it. Very nice. Third case of again Rove and Abaye. Omar Rove. Yeah, actually there's no Abaye here. No. Omar Rove. This case is a tiny bit more complicated, but not really more complicated. Omar Rove. Next case. Omar Rove. Later on, there's a very nice word here of Mechavru Sinai. Omar Rove. Hai man the masik tresa zuzi derbisa bechavri. A person now charges a friend. A person is owed by his friend how much? 12 zuzim. Remember, it was 1, now 4, now 12 zuzim. The oga. Now, let me give you the introduction because yesterday people got confused here. Again, in this case, again, the malve is owed. Leshitosoi harishois. He's owed how much? 12. Okay, 12. I lent you, I don't know, 1,000,000, 1,000. Let me show you how much you lent him. That's besides the point. But 12, I'm owed as ribis. Now, again, he needs a place to stay. Who? The Malve. The Malve needs a place to stay. This is not Zenin of Zelachoser. He wants to pay the Malve. The Loive is a landowner. Okay, let's rent your apartment off from you. Yeah, let me be a nice renter. And you know what? Let me do you a favor. Let's have a win-win situation. We're giving this an introduction to the Gemara. If you listen for introduction, the Gemara will go as smooth as butter. Now, let's even it out. You owe me 12 zuz for the ribis, right? I, at the end of the month, will owe you money for the rent, right? I'll be sitting now in your house. Now, Purim, Pesach, v'chule. Okay, let me start the rent now. At the end of the month, I'll owe you money. Let's even it out. You know the word litkazez mean in Hebrew? To even it out. I owe you owe me. Mitkazez, achov mitkazez, never told you in the area or something. Let's just get even. Yeah, let's break even. Yeah, you owe me 12. At the end of the month, I'll owe you X. Soon we'll see how much. And then let's even it out, okay? Meaning you'll pay me ribis by giving me rent free. It's not like the case of the Mishnah, right? That is extra. We're dealing with the ribis itself. I want to be paid the ribis that I am owed, which is obviously against halacha, yeah? Ribis that I'm owed, pay me the ribis without cash. I'm even being nice to you. You start for cash, okay? You have this nice little apartment. I'll stay there, and you pay me the ribis by giving me rent, yeah? Keneged the ribis, so far so bad, yeah, but so good for them, yeah. No, the whole thing is not okay.
I'm saying.
Oh, wait. The plot thickens, and we'll see. It's not complicated. A person is owed 12 zuzim of ribis. Of course, it's against the law. That's not the question. And as you can imagine, Tzvi, what do you think is the issue here? Just like we had 2 cases of the issue is how much you have to give back. The sugya here is when ribis is being demanded in Beis Din, when Yomi Medina Godol Vanoiro comes and the ribis has to be returned, how much do you return? As we had the 2 previous cases, right? Is it 4 or 5? Is it the robe or the the same case is going to be here. Let's see. The Ogar Lechotzer, now listen to the caveat in the agreement. He rented in Chotzer, who to who? The Loive rented out to the Malve, Chotzer Dimitgal Ba'asoro. Normally, that Chotzer at the end of the month, at the end of the year, it rents the value, the rent, it goes for how much? For 10 zuzim. The Ogan Yalei Betreisar. Now says the Malve, he's a really nice guy, and he says, look, instead of 10, let's reevaluate it, and instead of me paying you 10, let's decide that rent is worth more. Let's raise the price of the rent between us. We are 2 adults, we can do that. And instead of deciding this is worth 10, it will be worth 12. And I'm being really nice to you. Let's say 12 is for 1 month. After 1 month, you're done. It's all mekuzaz. It's all evened out, right? Get the story? Other people rent out this place for 10. I'll rent it from you for 12. That will even out what you owe me. And Shalom and Israel, 0-0. Hi, good. Now, Ken Yom Adina Godol Vanoiro. And the Loive got a toin Rabboni, and the Loive spoke to someone, and the toin Rabboni told him, Tagili, at a friar. You know you can go to Beis Din and claim your money back, the 12. Yeah? Because now how much money does he owe him? 12, not 2. The whole thing is, I knew it's going to happen. No. The whole ribis is 12. The whole thing is 12. The whole thing is 12. Think that was the beginning of Shiur. Yeah, the whole thing is 12. 12 and that's it. Okay? Good. Now, now, Kimap Kinan Mine, when we get the person to pay back, yeah, we get all 12 zuzim out of the pocket of the who? Of the malve, which is really ribis. Now, it's true, he didn't give him 12 in cash. What was the form of payment of ribis? Apartment. The value to live in my house, according to our own little agreement, was worth 12. Now, you can't live back in a rewind movie and get back all the time you lived there. So pay in cash, right? Now pay for the rent, which is really paying back the loan, the ribis, all good. Now comes the Gemara, but there's a catch over here. Really, how much is this apartment worth? 10. Oh, Amar le Rav Acha midifti Ravina, Rav Acha midifti to Ravina. Wait a second. I want to be the devil's advocate. In this case, I want to be the malve beribis advocate. Ki agra hachi. You know why I agreed to rent for 12 instead of 10? Not because I'm such a nice guy. Because it was convenient for me. Because Lamaise, why did I decide to all of a sudden, I'm the renter? Did you ever hear in your life that the renter raises the price? Why did I raise the price from 10 to 12 as a renter? You know why? It was convenient for me to what? I know you owe me 12. I'm a nice guy. And my mother is by nice. I overpriced it on purpose in order to be convenient for me not to fork out money. Yeah, nobody has to pay here, right? You don't have to pay me, and I don't have to pay you. That was so mishtashi, so convenient. I said, let's up it from 10 to 12. But hashta, now you're coming to me with Beis Din, you fruity. Now you come and you're demanding the 12 to be paid back. The loy mishtashili. That's not convenient for me to actually pay in cash 12 zuzim. That's a lot of money. No. Now I go back, I retract what I said. Now I want to say no. Now really I wanted to rent it for how much? For 10. The only reason why I agreed to give 12 is muchach me'elav. Why? Because it was good as part of the ribis agreement of nobody has to touch his pocket. So nice and convenient, so seamless. No cryptocurrency. There's no cash given over. Yeah. Mimela what? All very good. I was masking to have 12 because it would even out the choiv. Now you're coming to me to demand 12 in mezuman, in shkolim? No. I'm going back and saying, really, I want to behave now like any other Reuven, Shimon, and Levi that really pay only 10. So Lamaisa, how much do I owe you now? I owe you 10. And the 2 I don't owe you because the 2 I never actually took from you. Yet again, I'll repeat, because you're confused. Again, you owe me 12 ribis. Okay? You know what? You're saying I used your apartment of a value of 12? No. Your apartment is not really worth 12. We decided it's worth 12 because it was convenient to both sides. Now it's not convenient anymore because we're not friends anymore. We're sitting loggerheads in Beis Din, and you're asking me to get cash of 12? That no. Retrospectively, I want really to look back and say the real value is really 10, not 12. And therefore, I will give you 10 cash now because that was ribis, because I really lived in a place that's really worth 10. The other 2 I don't have to give you. Because the other 2 you never really gave me. You never gave me cash of 2, and you never gave me rent that's really worth 2. Why don't we say that the Malvi can say that and get away with only paying 10 back? Questions later. Answers the Gemara, tough luck. Mishum de Omerle, Sovalto vekibalto. Because the landlord / Loiv can say, you agreed. 2 words. Sovalto vekibalto. You had it in your mind, you were sover in Mekabel. Since at the end of the day, you accepted what? That the rent is 12. Gamarnu. Your cheshbon is very nice and interesting, but since you wrote down or you said or you agreed to 12, it's 12. And there's no way back. You can't take back, you can't go back in time. Time tunnel is a very cute, crazy idea, but as far as I know, it doesn't exist in real life. And therefore, there's no time machines in the world. And you said 12. You agreed to 12. and therefore now you have to give me back how much? You live in an apartment that you and I priced at 12. So now you really did use 12 dinarim of my value, 12 zuzim. Now you have to give me in cash 12 and not just 10.
Why would
One
you have
second.
to argue?
It's interesting that these three stories pointed by Mechavrus or Reuven Berman, the first story was how much? It was one zuz. In the second story, there were 4 zuzim. In the third story, there are 12 zuzim. They're not real stories. It's just stories, theoretical stories, but it's interesting. It increases like Ribis itself. First story, now my own, Baruch Hashem, this morning. The first story is about bread, chitim. The second story is garments. And the third story is a house. The 3 necessities of a human being, right? Food, clothes, and shelter. Very interesting. The one follows the other. Aban Rova. Yeah. So you see also people start borrowing for food, then the need for clothes, nice ones, and then need for the apartment. It's like the nochosh, like the venom of the nochosh. That's what the Rishonim say. The ribis starts small and grows and morphs into something beyond your control. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm listening to your beautiful questions. You're beautiful. I want to ask you a question before we start the next Mishnah, and I was very, very excited with your questions. Now, really, now my question is as follows. You tell me, as people, budding Talmidei Chachami, Binyan Ribis, tell me, please, how about if I want to sell you my tie? See, I came today with a tie. I don't know why. I was in the mood for a tie. Now, I want to sell you this tie for 15 shekels. Yeah, will make me happy. 15 shekels, collector's item. Okay, 15 shekels. Now, if you pay me now, 15 shekels. But if you take it now and pay me tomorrow, then you have to pay me 20. Rebis the Rabbanon, I think so too. Doesn't smell nice, right? You take the tie now, Meshicha, right? Pay now 15. But if the same tie stays with you and everything else is equal, you pay tomorrow. Pay tomorrow. I'm waiting for my money for a whole day, for a whole day. Then you have to pay 20 shekels. That is Rebis the Rabbanon. Oh. Okay, take it off my neck. Says the Heilige Mishnah, although you're right. However, it's not so simple. Let's see what the Mishnah has to say. There are 2 cases. Says the Mishnah, Marbin al Sachar, and Marbin al Mecher, Marbin the Simche, Marbin al Sachar, which means if we're talking about rent, and if you pay later, you pay more, and we're talking about rent of, let's say, a house, then it's okay. You're allowed to do that. Soon we'll see why. When it comes to sale, like you said, we cannot ask for more money if you pay later and pay more. When it comes to sale, not to rent, then it's not okay. However, that was a very general and even somewhat misleading line. The Mishnah explains itself right away. Ketzad, how is that? Listen carefully to the details. A person rent out his place, his chotzer, his apartment to someone. He told the renter, if you pay everything up front, I personally know a guy who does that. If you pay the entire year up front, not science fiction, right? I'll give you a discount. You can get the entire year for 10 sela. Wow. If you want to pay like normal, if you want to pay me by the end of each month, sela lechodesh, you have to pay sela at each of every month. Last time I checked, most years, if not Muberes, have how many months? I think 12, right? Oh, yeah. Okay, so how many is there? 12. So how much do you save by paying up front? 2. Then it's mutter. That's allowed. Why don't we say it's ribis? Yeah, in other words, if you pay normal, then you pay how much? 12. If you pay early, if you pay me right now, then you have to pay me 10. And yet that's allowed. That's allowed because it's rent. Okay, let's see. Continues the Mishnah, the next case. Mochar lo es sadehu. Let's say it's not a rent, but a sale. Let's say a person wants to sell his field, or some say the wheat of the field. Mochar lo es sadehu ve'omer lo. Im achshav atanoisenli. Now he did Meshicha or Chazaka. The kinyan was done. If you pay now, atanoisenli hareshel chob elef zuz. If you pay me now, get the entire field for 1,000 zuz. Im lagoyren. If you want to make money by planting and by harvesting goyren, and you pay me at the end of the year when you're going to see some profit in the granary, then you have to pay me 12. If you pay me now, and the field is yours right now, You did chazaka or the chitim, whatever it is now. If you pay me now, how much do you pay? You pay me, you're gonna get 1,000, okay? But if you elvzud, if you pay at the end of the year, I'll charge you extra to 12,000. Then it's also Then it's also Pay now X, pay later. You're gonna get what X plus 2. Then it's also. If you're careful enough, you can see the difference between the Reisha and the Seifa. But the Gemara is going to do the job for us. Frag the Gemara. What's the difference between, again, let's repeat, let's review. What's the difference between the ratio and the Seifa? In a ratio, when it's rent, I say, listen, you pay me now, up front, like the Uriah. You pay the taxes in advance, then how much? I'm giving you a big reduction. They don't give such a big reduction, yeah? I'll give you more, 1,000 only. Wow, right? And then if you pay month by month is going to be what? 1,200, 1,200. And that's okay. That's fine. In a safe, when it comes to a sale, to purchasing, what do we say? It's not right to say, pay me now 1,000, pay me in a year's time, it's 1,200. What's the difference? One answer all the way through by both Rabbi and Rav Yosef. They say, do you want to guess anybody, by the way? Let's see. The halachic, not just a norm, it's a halachic requirement. Schirus is only paid halachically at the end of the month. You're not allowed to bother, to speak balabatishly, you can't bother your renter in the middle of the month. Every month at the end of the month is when you have to pay the schirus, not before. So the normal expected and accepted both payment is at the end of each month. Yes. So really, when is the normal time to pay? At the end of each month. The high comes Mr. Who? Landlord, which is what? Hungry for cash. The time did not yet come to collect, right? Then lav agar natale mashvehu. Very good, which means the fact that I'm going to ask you later, if you pay later, you'll have to pay more. That's not called waiting extra time for my money. The problem of Rabbi says Rav Nachman said to Dapim Go is what? You can't ask for money for waiting for your money. It's not waiting for your money. That's a normal thing. I'm not waiting extra. If at the end of Tishra, Cheshvan, Kislev, Tevis, January, March, February, I pay what at the end of each month. That's a normal. That's a normal thing to pay at the end. I'm not setting a different higher price because it's later. Later is normal. That's when you're supposed to pay. That's not called waiting extra for later payment. If anything the other way, that's the value. Now that he's giving a special deal, if you pay me now, I'll give you the entire year with a discount of 2 months off. I did not make the price higher. I took the normal price and made it lower. And that, my friend, is aloha lemaisa. You should always be madgish when you do all these early bird special. The normal price is X. If you pay early, you pay less. To pay less is not ribis. The normal expected and accepted time is at the end of the year, the end of the month. That's when it's supposed to be paid. If you pay extra early, you get an extra discount, a reduction. That's not called ribis. It's reverse ribis, and that's absolutely kosher l'maisa la'alacha 2023 too. But Shenk and Seifa. When it comes to the Seifa, what's the story of the Seifa? Kevan desbini ninu. It's not a rent. It's a sale. Normally, when do you pay for something new? Before the days of credit card. When do you normally expect to pay for the goods you just got into your hands? Kevin does bininin, it's a sale. Yeah, he's supposed to get money now, cash on delivery, right? Therefore, therefore, if you make the deal, and what do? What do you say? What's he saying here? Pay me now, pay 10, and that's normal. Paying now is normal. And you pay later, you pay 12. He's waiting extra time, more than the expected and accepted for later. You want to pay later, and therefore I'm charging you more. That's agar natar. I'm waiting for my money long time, and for that wait, you got to pay more. That's called ribis in French, and that's ribis derabanan, but it's ribis. Omar Rove, says Rove, Daku Barabonon Beho Mirsa, Rabbanon were medaktik, Rabbanon were me'ayin, they looked carefully into this halacha, V'kmu akro. They found a pasuk that's merames, that alludes to the concept we just said. What did they find out? It says in the pasuk there, I think in Behar, Kischir shono beshono. There it talks about an eved. It says a sachir, schirus. Sachir is rent, right? A shana by shana, year by year. What does it mean? Schir shel shana zu en mishtalemes ela beshana acheres. Very good. A schirus of 1 year, yeah, is only paid at the end of the next year or the next month. Which means, let's say it's an annual thing, like an eved. Let's say you rent the eved for a year, for 7 years or 6 years, yeah. Then the end of every year is kilo a new thing. Only at the end of Tafshin Pei, the beginning of Tafshin Pei Gimel, I have to pay for Tafshin Pei Beis, right? Same thing by the month. Every month, each month, Tishrei, Cheshvan, Kislev, at the end of Tishrei, I pay for Tishrei, because Chirus is only Basoif. Therefore, waiting for the Chirus is not called waiting. That's normal. That's a normal time, the end of the month. You want to get special early bird discount? That's absolutely fine. That's not called ribis. Okay? That's pshat. Weiter. First wide line. You happy? Yeah. There's the Gemara. Ve'im lagorim v'shnei samone osu. Omar Rav Nachman. Says Rav Nachman, Tarsha Shori. What does Tarsha mean? Say the Rishonim. Tarsha either means quiet, or Tarsha means like troshim, like high cliffs. What does that mean? Let's decide to follow the Rishonim and they say Tarsha means quiet. Quiet ribis is okay. What's quiet ribis? Let's say the product is worth how much? I would not charge you for the product that I'm selling you now, the tie. I really think that it's worth 15 shekels, but I don't say it. And I tell you, Ellen, if you get my tie now and you pay for it tomorrow, you get 20. I sort of did not mention the 15 shekel it's worth today. I conveniently omitted that detail, and I only said, if you give me tomorrow, then you pay me 20. Now, you may ask, Akiva, so is today 15? I would say yes. That's okay, because that's already a reduction, a discount. But if I did not say out the words, today 15, tomorrow 20, I only said, get it now, and tomorrow give me 20. Then it's okay. Then it's okay. Why is that okay? Says Tosis a few dapim ago. If this tie all over the market, secondhand tie, in somewhat good condition, is worth 15 and everybody knows it, doesn't help. Who am I fooling? Just because I don't say it, so what? If everybody knows today it's 15, and I tell you tomorrow 20, that's wrong. But if nobody decided that's worth 15, it's something that has no value. There is no market. It's something obscure, very, very, unclear. Lo yotza ashar, let's say. In that case, it's all nebulous. It's all up in the air. And if I don't mention today, and I only mention tomorrow's high price, then it's okay. I just decided to get paid later for higher amount. Higher than what? Higher than my own decision, which I didn't even say. Then it's okay. Because it's not that I'm going up the ladder, today X, tomorrow X plus 20. It's just tomorrow is an amount. If we talk about today, we'll talk later. That formula, that way, that framework is okay according to Rav Nachman. Now, Es v'Rami Barcham el Rav Nachman, Ami Barcham Es Rav Nachman, the Amri la Rav Ukva Barcham el Rav Nachman. Yes, one of the two Amoraim asked Rav Nachman the following question from our Mishnah. What does it say in the Mishnah? Ve'im lagoyren v'shnei masar moneh. Also, we said that if you mention what? That if you pay at the end of the year for the field I sold you today. What's today? Today is Odo. And if you pay me, you get the field now. Start plowing quickly before Pesach. And next Odo, a year later, you'll pay me 12 and not 10. It's not allowed. So you see that if I mention next year price, it's not okay. And in the Havamina, the Gemara thought that he didn't mention today's price, only the later price. Kilo the Mishnah has two separate cases. There's a separate case of not mentioning today and only mentioning a year's time. And you see, it's not okay. You can't keep shtum about now and only mention later. That's fine. And says the Gemara, the obvious answer, Omerle, no. Osam katzle, hochaloi katzle. No. Over here, that's not the case. You misunderstood the Mishnah. In the Mishnah, there was ktzitza. What ktzitza? Today. I clearly said, my friend, today it's worth 1,000. Boom, boom, boom. And I expect the money now, like everybody else. A year's time, 1,200. That's wrong. I'm clearly mouthing something that sounds, great on our halachic ears. Ribis, today 1,000, next year 1,200. Mashenkin, if I don't mention 1,000, and let's say there is no price, and let's say there is no market price and nothing clear, it's all up in the air. Nobody really knows the kind of weird field how much it is. There's no clear market here. People will tell different things. Then what? Then we say, if I only mention the higher price of later, that's my starting point. I decided now to fix the price on a later time. You may come and say, wait a second. Are you saying next year 1,200? Then now is 1,000. I may say yes, but they will be good already. All right? They'll be like the rent. I already decided that my norm is next year 1,200, and you all of a sudden come with a chiddush of giving now for 1,000. That's good because it works the other way around. That will be fine. But the only trade thing is to say now 1,000, next year more. That is definitely not good. Okay? Questions? Okay, we'll finish here. We have a case of Omar Papa Talsha Didi Shari. Yeah, Rav Papa. Let's read 2 more lines, not to be Mavatel Torah of 2 more minutes. Omar Rav Papa. Yeah, the 4th line from the 4th wide line. Bava Metzia Samech Amud Aleph. Omar Rav Papa. Talsha Didi Shari. My silent ribis is allowed. Why? Who was Rav Papa? Besides being an Amoira, Rav Papa was a beer merchant. He was a sheikher, guy. He was a sheikher, and he was also a very rich man. Says Rav Papa the following, and tomorrow we'll explain it. Be'ezrat Hashem. Says Rav Papa, my timer. Why is my silent ribis okay? Shechroi loy posid. My sheikher. If I sell my sheikher now, and I say, listen, it can be stored in my cellar, and you'll get it next year. My sheikher stays nice and fresh the entire year. It doesn't make a difference for the buyer if he gets it now or in a year's time. Zuzi loy tzarichna. Because I'm rich, I don't need the money. What's a loiva? He's tight for cash. Give me money now, or field now, and I'll pay later. That's a dream of every loiva. I'm not such a poor guy. I'm a rich guy, says Rav Papa. I don't need it. Anahu de kalbid namil sagabi lokeach. I'm the one who's setting the price, or making the decision regarding the lokeach. I only translated the case. I did not explain the case. There will be Be'ezrat Hashem tomorrow, and Be'ezrat Hashem will be Matzliach through Ezu Neshech, and we have a terrific day. Hatzlach Rabbi B'chol Inyanim, and happy Purim. And again, thank you to all our Torah Anytime viewers and YouTube viewers and everybody here in the room. Thank you very much. Everyone's invited to email me at akiva1971@gmail.com for any questions or comments, or comment in my YouTube channel. Thank you. Bye.